Hello, this is LaRocque of King Diamond, and you're listening to Heavy Demons.
So, dear Andy, is there any news you can share on the actual stage of the production of the new King Diamond album, The Institute?
Yeah, we're gonna have pretty much the same setup as we had on the last US tour that we did in October, November, and December. And the European fans haven't really seen that, so I'm sure it's going to be interesting for them to check out. And we also play in two songs that's not really released on albums yet.
Yeah.
And you will hear that too. It's going to be Spider Lily, which we actually recorded a video on, and it's going to be one song called Electrotherapy that will be on the upcoming album. We're working on that too. The album, we started to recording things before the last US tour, and we still have a lot of things to record. So we're working on that too, and we're going to continue with that as soon as the European tour is over. So we've been really busy with everything.
How is the songwriting process for a King Diamond album? I mean, you and King exchange ideas in the form of a complete demo or just riffs or what else?
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty much a complete demo.
Okay.
With a programmed drum track and some keyboards on and some rhythm guitars. And I try to make, my demos as complete as possible with like everything except for the vocals, of course, but sometimes even with some solos that we can use on the album even, and the right guitar sounds and hopefully the right keyboard sounds too. When it comes to King stuff, he's a little more basic with a few of the things, And for example, the guitars, he let me re-record the guitars, and then I put solo on, and then Pontus, the bass player, put the bass on and all that stuff, So it's a little bit different, but it's quite complete anyway, from his side, with you totally understand what he wants with the feel and the atmosphere of the song, And once that's done and we're okay with the arrangement and stuff, we send that out to the other members in the band so they can start recording. For example, Matt has his own recording studio in Dallas where he lives. So when he gets the demo from us, he just mute the drums, put his drums on, and send it to me so I can, fix the drums and set up a good sound on everything. Same with the bass player and also with Mike, the other guitarist. Kind of the same procedure. And once the drums are done and we're okay with everything, King is doing the vocals, So that's about it, And then, of course, we can go in and change a few things too. If something needs to be added or change a rhythm part on the guitars or a solo, whatever needs to be changed, we can do that, whenever. So it's a pretty creative procedure,
Yeah, absolutely. And what can you tell us about the live collaboration with Mirker? How was it, and what shall we expect from the new singer, Hellpire?
Yeah, Hellpire. She's been with us like 7 or 8 years ago. She was a stand-in for Olivia for a couple of shows.
Okay.
And I think at that time she did a great job. So that's why we actually asked her this time around to be with us, on this summer tour. And she's also a good keyboard player, a great vocalist. It's going to be really cool. Mercury was great, I mean, she's super talented, with her vocals, singing, and her keyboard playing is amazing. But I'm sure that everyone's going to like Hellpire just as much.
Back in the days, how was to live with the band in the USA? How was your daily lifestyle?
My daily, wow. We were really busy back then with everything as well. I mean, you think when you live in the US, you kind of were on vacation, but that's not the case at all, because while we lived in the US, We did 2 US tours. We recorded an album. But before we recorded the album, it's going to write songs and we have to rehearse and practice and all that too. So it was really, really busy with the music at that time too. And we got the connections and, we done everything over here that we can do. So maybe it's time to go back to Europe and, you know, record an album right there and do some touring and stuff. So we moved back right before Christmas in 1989.
What are you currently working on at Sonic Train Studios?
Man, I've been really, really busy with everything. Of course, now, preparing for the European tour with a lot of stuff, but I have been working with a few bands in the studio too. The last one I did was a band called Mary Lane, which is a little more maybe like a dark kind of pop kind of thing, kind of pop rock. And they just started, with the recording process. You can say they recorded drums, they're recording some vocals, now they're going to record some guitars. And that's going to happen while I'm away on tour, And I also been mixing a band from southern of Sweden called Disruption. That's the last thing I actually did before, I'm going to go on tour, So that was actually finished a few days ago, So it's been really, really, really busy with everything. And then, of course, not least would be all the King Diamond stuff, with arrangements and stuff, for the stuff that we're going to continue doing after the tour, But I still, work on that, to refine and re-record some parts of the songs, So, yeah, that's a big part of everything, the King Diamond stuff, that's for sure.
If you shall name 3 guitar heroes that somehow influenced you, which ones would you choose?
Ooh, wow. I would say Randy Rhoads, Michael Schenker, and oh man, on the third spot there are so many, Wow, it's crazy. I would say probably Steve Vai.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
because of all the crazy stuff,
yeah. Yeah, maybe Randy Rhoads also in terms of riffing and compositions and stuff.
Oh yes, great melodic player. Same with Michael Schenker, which is also one of my favorite players.
As a musician and as a producer, which is your opinion about the Swedish band Ghost?
To be honest to you, I don't know too much about them,
Okay.
because I just heard a few songs. But what I've heard, I like. It's cool. It's I think I heard something that, to my ears, reminded me a lot about Merciful Fate, but that was like maybe 10 years ago or something like that, And I thought it was cool. And the latest things I've heard from Ghost was maybe a little more pop-ish kind of thing, a little kind of softer, So I wouldn't really call it like heavy metal, But I mean, they're good, They're doing a good thing for sure.
What shall the Italian fans expect from your show in Milan?
A great stage show, which is going to be really interesting, I hope, And it's going to be a mix of some new songs and some old songs. So, and of course, a great stage show with actors and stuff, coming out on stage. So I really hope they're going to like it because we haven't really been doing a European tour in a very long time.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a mix of festival shows and our own headline shows. And another interesting thing this tour will be that we're actually doing a meet and greet on our own headline shows, which we never done before in Europe. So you actually have a chance to go back and meet the members of the band and, check things out, have a few things signed maybe and have a little talk, with us.
Do you have any personal memories somehow related to Italy?
Oh, all the good food,
Okay.
you know, all the good food, of course, you know. But we only been in Italy for a few times, you know.
Yeah.
I think maybe we played there like 3, 4 times in total, in the whole career, you know. But hopefully the Milan show will be memorable, you know. So I really hope our fans will come out there and make it rock. That's for sure.
Okay, so which final message and greeting would you send to your Italian fans? And once again, an invitation to join you in Milano at Alcatraz.
Yes, I hope to see you guys at the Alcatraz in Milan. And don't miss it out. It's a long time since we've been in Italy, and we really hope to see you at the show.